delegation on funding as it relates to the Canada-wide early childhood care, and then staff will be providing a presentation increasing childcare spaces through modular childcare. I'll now call on Julie Hale to conduct the roll call.
Regional Chair Redmond.
Present.
Councillor Craig. Councillor Craig. Chair Erb.
Present.
Councillor Foxton.
Present.
Councillor Harris. Seems to be stepped out. Councillor Hunick.
Still alive.
Councillor James.
Present.
Councillor Liggett. Councillor McCabe. Councillor Nowak. Okay, thank you. Councillor Rodriguez. Councillor Salonen. Okay. Councillor Shantz.
Here.
Councillor Rabanovich. And Councillor Wolf.
Present.
Thank you.
As we begin this meeting, we are again reminded that many of our homes and places of employment in Waterloo region are situated on the land that is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Chinatown peoples. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to Waterloo region, and we also recognize the contributions Indigenous peoples have made in shaping and strengthening this community. We are grateful for the opportunity to live and work here, and we affirm our collective commitment to keep the promise that reconciliation takes place through learning and community building with Indigenous people who continue to live here. We are all treaty people with a responsibility to honor our relationships. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? There are none. Presentations, there are no presentations. We do have some delegations, and before we hear from our delegation, I'd like to remind everyone of some guidelines for participation. If you are joining us in person, please proceed to the podium when you are called upon to speak. Additionally, some general reminders: if you conduct yourself in any of the following manners, it will result in an immediate removal from the meeting, such as interrupting councillors, staff, or other delegations, derogatory statements about councillors, staff, or others, and hate speech or defamatory comments. One reminder, please don't take offense if following your presentation there are no questions from council. This is council's time to really listen and reflect upon the opinions and ideas shared with us from community members. And as a quick reminder to the members of the audience, you are asked to maintain order. This means that you are not to address the committee without the permission of the chair, interrupt anyone, disrupt the meeting with unreasonable noise or vocal expression such as applause, booing, or cheering, and the display of signs or posters. So under 5.1, we have two delegates, Mohammed and Sunil, who are here in person, I believe. Would you please come to the podium? You have 5 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Chair. How are you doing, I'm privileged to be here. My name is Mohammed. I am representing Angus Valley Montessori here, setting up in Kitchener. I've been in Canada and a proud Canadian for the last 27 years and have just moved in Kitchener from Richmond, British Columbia. I'm here to push my plea towards the council with regards to a request that we have for being included for the Canada-wide CWELC program that we are doing. I've just made a presentation, a very small presentation, would just not make or take a lot of time, but I just wanted to highlight on the...
Excuse me, could you just come a little closer to the mic? Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect, excellent. So I've just made a very small presentation that I just wanted to bring it to the council. I'm privileged and I thank you to Council James, who has been on the site the other day along with the Member of Parliament, Dr. Strauss, to see as to what we are building for here in the community. Can I have the slide, please? So our Kitchener location is opening in September of 2025, which is just around the corner, and we have a capacity of 105 kids. All of our school has been funded by CWELC already, so we are just an addition to the group, not a new group or not a new center that is coming on online. The location that we are building has been approved by the city of Kitchener for the last 2 years, and with the zoning approval, it was well aware by the city that this is a school that is coming with a minimum of 100 kids. That is going to be the position at this place. The approval that I'm requesting for the CWELC, it's not only going to support 25 staff members, but these are 25 family members who are online. Till date, I have 297 parents who are on the wait list and 295 resumes for 25 positions that we are here. This provides, the center that we have not only provides the affordable high care of childhood education, but it also aligns with the diversity that we are looking for the city of Kitchener. Have the next slide, please. I've had a chance in going through the region of Waterloo's website and all the details and everything, and just to highlight that we are right in the area which supports the city of Kitchener and the growth where the childcare is coming. Very close to Fairway Road North in the Brislew area, right across the Chipkopi School, where it puts us right aligned where the CWELC is another priority area. The next slide, please. While reviewing and summarizing my details with the funding gaps that we currently have is that unfortunately City of Waterloo or City of Region of Waterloo, whatever we call this region, has been given very few CWELC seats in comparison to the other regions. If I was to put the same application in the region of Peel, region of Brampton, region of Ontario, the federal government or the provincial will come in to me and say, we're allowing you 120 days for you to go ahead and set up a center, and then we'll approve you for CWELC. 8,624 new developments were approved for the city of region of Waterloo in the last 2 years, and only 411 new seats were allocated for CWELC. If even I was to divide 8,624 seats with one kid per 2 homes, that's 4,000 short seats that we got. I was happy that I've been here for about 45 to 50 minutes, and I heard the counselors talking about development, new projects coming in, and one of the counselors talking about people losing jobs. I just met somebody yesterday on site where they have to go every day to Milton, the wife, and the husband every day to Brampton for their job, and their 19-month-old son has to live at different places every day so that the parents can go out to work. My center has the capacity of accommodating them, but they cannot send the son to my center because my fees is $1,600 and I don't have CWELC. I have the space, but I don't have the people. I have already spent $1.6 million into this project, and all the money has been given to the taxation people, to everything that can support taxes. One of the recent centers in Oakville that just closed laid off 9 teachers and 44 students are displaced. And I'm proud that I at least got 2 of those teachers, including the supervisor, for being able to let's train everything onto the economy. The next slide, please.
You're down to your last 30 seconds.
Sure, absolutely. And here's what my thing to the council. 411 seats would unfortunately not do the job for the city. I have 105 open seats where only 4 parents have taken over the seats because they can afford it. The rest 291 parents are waiting on a day and a night basis for the province to be allowing more seats so that then they can accommodate. We are Kitchener. We need these seats. We need these parents to get back to work. The tax dollars are on the line. Thank you very much. That's all my request to the council is.
Thank you. I don't see any questions from councillors. Thank you for coming in and your presentation.
Thank you for having me.
We are on to item number 6 on the agenda, which is the consent, and there are no consent items. On to agenda item number 7.1, strategic priority, equitable services and opportunity, increasing childcare space through modular childcare. And I'll ask Barb Cardo, Director of Children's Services, to introduce the presentation and staff. Welcome.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, I'm really pleased to introduce to you Amber Robertson, who is a social planning associate in Children's Services, and she is going to be providing you with a presentation today. This presentation is the culmination of a lot of work that has gone on since we first talked to you 2 years ago about the challenges that our local nonprofit providers were having in finding suitable childcare, suitable space that is affordable and appropriate for young children. And at that time, we requested, and you approved that we go and seek out public lands to see if there might be some options available. Well, this has all culminated to this presentation today that proposes a plan that strategically maximizes our role as system manager, but also all of our maximizing all our provincial and federal funding that is available to us to grow a licensed childcare system in areas where it is most needed, on land where it's very suitable, and at a cost for operators that allows it to be affordable as well. It has some long-term vision and sustainability built in as we look forward to building a childcare community that meets the needs of all children across Waterloo Region. So I'll pass it over to Amber.
What a long day you've had. Through the chair. I will try to be brief and really engaging, as I know we are at the end of the day. So today I'm here to discuss the urgent need for additional nonprofit spaces in our community and our plan to address through a very innovative partnership that's looking to maximize public lands and increase the number of childcare spaces where they're needed the most. Next slide, please. Our community urgently needs more licensed childcare. Currently, there are over 13,400 children that are waiting, with 8,700 looking for care immediately. Access to high quality, affordable, flexible, and inclusive early learning and childcare is necessary for the well-being of children, women's workforce participation, addressing the impacts of poverty, and supporting a robust economy. Locally, there's a very strong interest in organizational capacity from not-for-profit operators to support the creation of new CWELC childcare spaces. Not-for-profit operators have identified barriers to increasing space, meaning that there's insufficient capital money, lack of access to affordable loans and being able to borrow funding, lack of affordable land and space in priority neighborhoods that is suitable for quality childcare. The spaces that they find are often have high rental rates, have limited outdoor green space, and require significant renovations. With the new CWELC funding formula, the more money that a childcare operator spends on the rental rate, this decreases their ability to invest in staff wages and quality supports in the program. Next slide. Region staff have been collaborating with Waterloo Region District School Board to identify school properties that would be ideal for modular childcare, located in priority areas with low access currently. Childcare is well suited to be located at school properties. As you can imagine, it allows for a seamless continuum of services to family with one drop-off. Sites being considered are in priority neighborhoods. They're large enough for 88 spaces. There's no planning or zoning concerns. There's ample green space. They're available long-term, and they have minimal site preparation costs. Next slide. Modular childcare involves prefabricated structures that are built off-site and assembled on location and offer rapid and a cost-effective solution to expanding childcare. These pictures represent some different examples, just in case you don't know what it looks like, of what it could look like in our community. The expected lifespan is about 30 years, depending on building maintenance. And outside of the capital cost to build the modular childcare, there would also be one-time costs for the site, including utility hookups and creating parking and sidewalks. Next slide. Modular childcare is widely used in BC and in Manitoba, as well as across the United States of America. In Ontario, there's lots of interest in exploring modular childcare amongst other municipalities. There's a local example of York Region recently placing modular childcare on public lands to help with rural access to childcare. We also have two local examples of where Waterloo Region District School Board hosted modular childcare for about 20 years. And they were just recently replaced with purpose-built larger centers that are in the school. Next slide. Here's our recommendation. Staff are recommending council approve the purchase of 2 88-space modular childcare centers via debentures, and we would be leasing them affordably to not-for-profit operators over a long-term lease. This will allow for lower accommodation costs for the operators to prioritize the investing in the extra funds in staff wages and quality supports for the program. One of the sites would be prioritized for Indigenous or culturally responsive childcare providers. Next slide. Our request for proposals process to identify a modular builder is underway, and we've released an EOI process to identify a nonprofit childcare operator, conditional upon council's approval. Our goal is to have the spaces licensed by the end of 2026 in order to maximize the available federal and provincial startup funding. As a public servant, a long-term one, it's so special for me to bring forward a proposal to council that represents a unique and innovative approach to serving our community by leveraging our partnerships and our organizational capacity to open up public lands for not-for-profit childcare operators to provide childcare in under-resourced areas. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Amber. You can just remain there. Right? There's some councilors that have some questions. Councilor Hunak.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Through the chair, I was just wondering, I couldn't tell from the photos, are the modular buildings built to be accessible for children or parents using mobility devices?
Yes, they are.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Councilor Salen.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation, and it's certainly an exciting concept for us to consider. My question is, why is this coming outside of budget? Because this is a pretty big budget ask, and we've had a further conversation about our priorities today. Not to say that this isn't very good, but again, we need to kind of, I think, be weighing these in a bigger picture with other items.
Yeah. So while there is an upfront debenture cost, all costs will be recovered through the lease to the child care operator. So I'm not sure about it being outside the process, and I guess I'm looking back to you, Mr. Sweeney, to weigh in on that.
I don't often get Mr. Thanks, Barb. So just to reiterate, and Wayne can certainly jump in. So there's two things. One is that the business case here is one that does not result in additional cost to the levy. So it's basically, as Barb has outlined, the nonprofit provider will enter into an arrangement and it will all be paid back with interest and a small admin fee. So that would be one thing. And then the second issue that we're running up into is these funds have to be allocated and committed and communicated to the Ministry of Health by the end of October, or we lose them. And so there is a level of acceleration that we're trying to accommodate throughout this. And you might recall about a month ago, Barb sent an email around to talk about an RFP to get ahead of the schedule that will still be dependent. So it's those two things, Councillor Salonen, for why the timing's coming here. I don't know, Wayne, if you have anything else to add on that.
Yeah, ideally, this would be, to bring it through in the budget process. But as my colleagues have said, this is funded by the external agencies. We are using some of our debt capacity, but this is small relative to our overall debt capacity, and there's some risk in terms of taking on like a mortgage risk. So there's those elements.
Yeah, that part's perfectly fine. And to be fair, I did read about the RFP. I just didn't put two and two together that is what this was the outcome of. So thank you for that. I guess the one other thing that I'm wondering, and I know that there are a few other scenarios, but is this kind of common for us to be the ones giving out the lease then to be bringing in others? I know that we have other examples. I'm kind of wondering when we're thinking about the core business of, because my head's in budget already and going back to those ideas. So just curious if you can speak to that, Commissioner Sweeney.
Yeah, I can. And Barb, maybe you can jump in if I miss a couple of things here. So certainly as a service system manager, we do have a responsibility, we feel, to ensure and incent opportunities to create more spaces. And we see that as one of those. On a practical level, nonprofit operators could conceivably enter into these contracts on their own. However, what we've known through our research is those lease agreements that are currently in the market are only spread over 5 years and maybe 10. And so that's a payment schedule. They just wouldn't be able to do it. So that's how we sort of looked and say, hey, how can we potentially access some of the capital that we have, the interest rates that we have. And again, as a service system manager, certainly not looking to get into the business of outside of our scope, but in this particular case, given the needs, we feel it's an appropriate use of resources if council so decides. Did I miss anything, Barb?
No.
Okay.
Councillor McCabe. Oh, sorry, Chair Redmond.
I was just going to move the recommendation.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Hunick. So, Councillor McCabe.
I was going to second, or I was going to move it as well, so we're good to go. I appreciate you bringing this forward.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor? E-scribe. You're shut your system down, Joe. You're in favor. You can go to Wellesley. Thank you.
Don't anybody else leave.
Councillor Wolf, you're in favor? Okay, that's carried. On to item 8, council tracking list. There are none. Any other business? Councillor McCabe? Okay, sorry, Councillor Craig.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm just wondering for the later in the year, if we could get an update from Health Department with regards to the number of overdoses in the region, okay, and ambulances and so on. Like what I'm trying to do is we've lost the safe injection site. I'd like to know what the impact has been. And I'm thinking at the end of the year, we might get a good idea of that.
Yes, Councillor Craig, we have been asked by the media and we have provided information. I think it was just earlier this week, so I'm happy to share that information with all of council very shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other business? Our next meeting is on September the 9th. But before we adjourn, I'd like to remind everyone that we have a special council meeting which will immediately follow this meeting. So a motion to adjourn, moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Hunick. You go to e-scribe to indicate your support. We are adjourned, and hang on to your seats.